12 days, 5,500 miles in an RV can be challenging, and I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to go down, but it was good.
It was better than I thought it was going to be, because I
Yeah.
thought initially that like it would be a lot more uncomfortable, or like maybe after a couple of days you'd start feeling real homesick, but it became home pretty quick though.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think like the second day I was a little homesick.
Yeah.
By the third day, I kind of settled into the pattern of like, hey, this is our life for X amount of time, and we're gonna do it. Now, I will say, just so let's back up to day one.
Yeah.
Day one, we left the shop at about 10 o'clock.
10, yeah.
And you
About 10,
decided that
10:30.
you weren't going to use any of the fucking
Yeah, the guy's showing you the RV, right? And you'd be like, all right, so this is how you use the awning. You're like, we ain't gonna use that shit. We ain't gonna use that shit.
And we did. We
didn't use it. But I really had intentions to
We
use it.
wanted to.
We wanted to. Where would you?
We would have used it if Yellowstone had been.
You think so? It was overclass though.
Well, say if it was like we woke up and it was snowing, then like maybe we'd put the gear out, get time lapses under there, something like that.
What if?
What if?
If ifs were butts.
If it's and butts were
nuts, I wouldn't run out of peanut butter.
I'd have a squirrel infestation, something like that.
Yeah, if ifs and nuts were, I would have peanut butter for the rest of my life.
That's it.
So
I've never heard that one before.
It's an old time saying.
You wouldn't understand. It was back in the 20s.
Obviously.
But so first day we left about 10:30. I don't even know. Going to Indianapolis.
Yeah.
In a fucking windstorm.
Windstorm, dude, and it was so scary.
How to make Ohio worse? Windstorm.
Windstorm.
So the thing is none of us had ever been in an RV before.
No.
So we didn't know if like this was standard, like when you drive
RV
in an
traveling.
RV, you just are swaying. Like
I know.
I mean,
I was
imagine
shitting
like
bricks.
being in a small plane in severe turbulence. That's kind of what it felt like for like 5 hours.
Yes, and hard to pee because you had to try to aim yourself while you were
we
going.
weren't supposed to pee.
We weren't supposed to, but we broke that rule very quickly.
We did break. So again, as the guy was showing me the RV, we were basically like, this, we're
use that shit.
Yeah, we're not going to.
we're
not using the toilet because we, listen. I didn't want you guys doing turds in the bathroom in a small rolling turd RV,
which is understandable.
Yeah,
that's a tour bus rule anyway. No pooping, no farting.
Yeah, and that was
it. Really?
So, but we did break the pee rule, which is understandable.
Yeah, I didn't mind peeing at all.
Yeah.
like I don't mind that. It's just
I would
that
literally
poop and
let you
fart.
guys pee in my hands.
Yeah,
and
like
we
this.
did a couple times.
He asked to. He's like, can you please, guys, again, pee in my hands, please.
Master, please pee in my hands. Please.
And what people don't realize is that I'm going to fast forward. We're going to be all over.
Yeah,
the place.
yeah, it's
Doesn't
fine.
matter.
Let's just roll.
So when we finally, I think that the owner of the RV did not dump the what they call the black water.
He didn't.
Yeah.
By the way, and I'll tell you why. Because I was pissing one time and a log came up.
Yeah, he saw a
I saw
nugget.
a nuggie, and I know none of us took no dump.
Yeah.
Well, even when we finally did dump the black water, you saw stuff
nuggies?
coming out that we didn't do,
Like toilet paper and
stuff like that.
poopies.
So anyways, when we first, it filled up pretty quick. I mean, within like 5 days or something like that, all of a sudden we can't flush. But the problem is Noah had already peed and tried to flush. Well, now there's pee in the toilet that can't flush.
That's just
And it's
urating.
So there was a little odor in the back of the truck. So we tried to dump We tried to dump the black tank. As
What
they
happened,
call it.
Brian?
And
What
it
happened?
was frozen.
Why? Because we were in Yellowstone. It was like 19 degrees out, right?
19. And so we couldn't get. So we had to drive around for 2 more days till the pee that thawed out. And so RV life was interesting.
Yeah. No, it was definitely crazy. It was nice though to be able to walk around while you were driving.
It was really nice. I'll be honest with you. Although we didn't really, I definitely was the reason that we glamped this one.
Yeah, we Bear Grylls a bit, right?
We Bear Grylls. Yeah. So pretty much almost every night we stayed in a hotel every night.
But y'all don't know that.
So we didn't sleep in the RV because I'm just
Took
not
a couple
that guy.
naps.
It's not only that, but like obviously this trip was a big step for you too, to be away from home, and we just let's keep it as comfortable as possible for now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, going from leaving it, with the anxiety I've had and all the other stuff, just leaving alone was a big step.
Exactly.
And like having to sleep in a camper with, you don't know if, this is what I keep thinking is like, okay, we're going to sleep in this camper. And
what if Jay touches me?
Yeah.
No. I'm thinking like the generator only has 18 hours of gas.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, what happens if the generator runs out of gas? We're freezing in Yellowstone. We wake up in the middle of the night. It's 12 degrees.
And I knew I could see you thinking about that. Like when we were talking about it, I was like, I could see your brain going like, Like, what if this happens? What if this happens?
And that's part of the anxious life.
100%.
Unfortunately, is you do that. But we did still travel, and I do agree. I could see myself renting an RV again, even for like a Florida trip or something like that.
Much better than a van,
because,
man.
I mean, gosh, when you're in a van, you're stuck in these uncomfortable seats.
No movement.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, we all took advantage at least a little bit of just even laying on the couch bench, or there was one time I went back and just laid in the bed for like 2 hours, and
being able to edit on the table and stuff it was nice, man.
Yeah, so RV life was way better than I expected.
Yeah.
And after the windstorm,
we were ready for anything.
Yeah, so the point is, once the wind died down, it drove pretty good.
Yeah. It was honestly great, and I mean, it had some good speed to it too. Like, it was able to. Some of the roads, like, I've never seen this before, so maybe viewers haven't either, are like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah,
like that's
especially
the speed
out west.
limit.
Yeah, once you get down to Texas/Oklahoma, and pretty much the rest of the way home until we got back into Illinois, South Dakota, and everything was 80 miles an hour.
Why did they trust them more?
I don't know.
I think there's just much more open land, and the roads are straighter versus like around here, everything's constantly curving.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's dumb.
Probably just a freaking.
They probably just don't care as much. But the RV was able to keep up, and we were actually passing slow pokes the whole time, dude.
Yeah, no, it was interesting.
One thing I realized on this trip is, man, there's crackheads everywhere.
Everywhere, dude. Doing pull-ups on street signs.
I mean, every state you go, you run into some crackheads.
Yeah, so we obviously in Vegas, we saw the guy that was doing calisthenics on an actual street sign.
Yeah, and don't forget the dude that was casting spells with his hammer.
Yeah, he was casting spells with the hammer. That was right down the street from the calisthenic dude.
Yeah, that was right there.
And then we had Utah.
Mike Levitt's ex-wife or something.
Let's tell the story.
So we're coming out of Sequest.
It's in Utah.
What time do you think it was? Like 7 o'clock?
Like 7 o'clock, yeah.
Right? So we're coming out, and we go into the RV. It's dark, and there's this lady. She sees us with all our camera gear, and she's like, "What y'all filming in there?" And we're like, we do, daily vlogs. We're a reptile channel. And she's like, "Oh, just a bunch of stupid lizards and shit." And we're like, already I know this lady's going to be a mess, right?
Yeah.
And I think you filmed the rest of it, right?
I was filming the whole thing.
Yeah,
I saw it.
Go. And she was just like,
on his vlog he added it last
like, fucking Mike Levitt stole my baby. And I was like, what? And she's like, we don't hear his voice in the halls no more.
And we're like, what are you talking about?
This shit is fucking crazy.
Yeah, you can't write that shit, dude.
This lady's on crack.
Dude,
And she circled the RV, right? She talked to you, then she went all the way around
and went back to the same spot. It's like, fuck Mike Levitt. Like, we have any idea who that is.
Who the fuck is Mike Levitt?
And she somehow correlated him to reptiles. Because it was like, a bunch of stupid lizard shit, just like Mike Levitt. I lost my fucking son because of him.
Dude, is it because you know how like people think that people in the government are like reptiles?
Yeah, lizard people.
This crackhead was like, reptiles. Mike Levitt's a reptile, and he stole my kid.
You might be right, dude. That might be the actual correlation.
I think it is.
So she was crazy. I'm trying to think. I mean,
we saw a lot of Vegas craziness, like everywhere, like on the Strip in Vegas. Which, by the way, I think that Vegas was obviously a big part of why we went on this trip. Was because Noah turned 21. We wanted to celebrate in Vegas and stuff like that. But I will say that it was the least enjoyable part for me, mainly because there was a lot of people. And we were pretty. I think we were very
isolated. Aside from that, we were pretty much alone the whole trip.
Yeah, I mean, we would visit people, but that was it, like 2 people or something like that. So Vegas, there was a lot of people, and the restrictions were very tight. So you had a mask on literally from day to night. I mean, you couldn't leave your room without a mask on. As soon as you walked out of your room, people would be like, "Put your mask on," And
when you're on the Strip, like, there's so many people in such a small. You're pretty much inside, even though you're outside. You know what I mean? Like, so you had it on all day, everything you were doing.
So I mean, which is probably better to have the mask on, But I felt uncomfortable there, and just I've been to Vegas a bunch of times. It was definitely not the Vegas I remembered.
No, now I obviously wasn't with you guys on Saturday. Was it as busy as it used to be? Because
I would say it was close to as busy as I've ever seen it.
Okay.
I haven't been there in like 5 years, so things may have changed. I'm assuming maybe last summer it was way busier. I have no idea, but I mean, it was packed. It was packed.
Yeah,
it was like, I mean, there were people everywhere, and people didn't give two
especially
shits.
in that old Vegas, Fremont.
Yeah, Fremont
Street.
was
That was
really
the busiest.
it was like the busiest
100%.
anywhere. Yeah, I mean, it was like you could barely
Really?
walk without being on top of somebody, and the casinos were packed. Every place you went in was packed. So I didn't feel real comfortable there because I mean, I'm still very aware that we're in a pandemic.
Of course, man.
And so although we're protecting ourselves and doing all the things that we need to do, that was the most uncomfortable that I was.
Yeah, I can agree with that too. I mean, it was definitely not the petrified forest where it's us three.
You're like in the middle of nowhere.
And acres of emptiness.
There's nothing to be concerned about when you're in the middle of the desert by yourself.
Yeah, which that place, by the way, is unreal. I mean, I've never felt, and I've went to Moab with you, which is another Mars type place, but I truly never felt more like I wasn't on Earth than when I was in like Blue Mesa.
Yeah, Blue Mesa.
Where like it's just it's pretty flat for a minute, and then out of nowhere, this like sand art mountains up here where there's layers of color. Have you ever seen anything like that before?
No, it was like Mars on Earth.
Yeah,
you're just like it seems fake.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem like it should.
It seems like it would be an attraction outside of Vegas or something like that. Like it doesn't feel like it's naturally like that because it's not like hard mountains that you would assume would be there forever. And it's also not sand dunes that are constantly changing. It's like this structure of moon sand, like a really soft sand that has been there forever and looks the same and has layers of perfect sediments. So crazy.
It's great. There a bunch of stuff we saw, mountains, whatever it may be, was just so beautiful and
well, they're memories you'll remember forever,
Of course, dude. I mean,
but backing up, I mean, we obviously started the trip going to Dez's place and Stephen Cush's place.
Saw some crazy crocs.
Yeah, there were some really good animals. We've been there a bunch, but they've done a really good job, I think, in the last 6-8 months of reorganizing the place very well. I thought it was super nice. I thought the changes they had made were super positive, and the animals that they had were just incredible. And so they're doing a really good job down there with everything. So that was impressive. It was a good way to start, and it was only a 4.5-5 hour drive from home. So it was like really kicking off the trip. You know what I mean? And then that night we made it to St. Louis. And our friend Jason hooked up, kind of hooked us up with the St. Louis Aquarium,
which was wild, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was cool.
So it was like an old train
station,
that they renovated into a mall. The mall closed down, and then that hotel bought it and made this aquarium.
Yeah, I was thinking about that though. I mean, this hotel chain, that bought the aquarium and actually put the aquarium together. They must be bumming right now because, I mean, obviously it's very limited numbers. And unlike the Reptarium that can operate with limited numbers, this is a huge place. I mean, they spent $15 million to make this place, maybe even $20 or $30 million. And literally they opened up, I think in January, and were shut down in March.
So sad,
and now it seems like I mean, I know when we were there, I don't know if it was just people weren't there or whatever, but there wasn't 100 people in there. I don't think,
maybe not even 50. I mean, between 75 or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that a place like that needs to be doing a lot, 600,000-700,000 people a year to make it profitable. And if you're doing 100 people a day, you're doing,
And it was a beautiful establishment, so it's so sad, right? Because they did such a great job with how they set up the enclosures and the experiences, because it was very hands-on too.
Yeah, for a bigger aquarium, it was really. It isn't Sequest, where Sequest is really hands-on, but it was close. It was the best aquarium that was of that stature I've ever been to, because Sequest is still like Sea Life. It's a 35,000 square foot place. This place was 100,000 square foot or more. I mean, it's a big mall. I mean, it's a giant place. And they have this 250,000 gallon
Sharky.
I mean, that's the difference, right? Is like Sequest and Sea Life, their biggest tank is 30,000 gallons.
Right.
This is 250,000 gallons.
I mean, that's an ocean almost.
Yeah, it's a big tank. So, I do feel bad for that company. I'm sure they're bumming, but I'm sure they'll, I mean, it's obviously a big company that's making it through, but definitely St. Louis was cool.
Yeah, St. Louis was great. And like I said, like even with that aquarium, like they had so many things for like kids and stuff like that, and like make it a family place. They had the crazy
ropes course. Shit myself.
Yeah, you almost pooped on top, right?
Yeah, I was up there and my gut went and it it took so much power to close that butthole
to the clincher,
because it almost just came out, and it was not good. It wasn't a good experience. I didn't like that feeling. It hasn't happened to me often.
Oh my gosh!
But I hope it doesn't happen again.
I hope not either. I that would have been a horrible experience.
Damn, son.
Can we rail this in?